welcome back to my channel. My name is Naomi Rook. If you're brand new to my channel, consider subscribing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to ring that notification bell so you can be notified anytime I do upload a video. Today what I'm going to do is a makeup declutter. I've seen tons of different formats of how people do these videos. I don't really like the ones where you see their collection and they're kind of pulling through all the different items. I would rather just sit down and talk to you and show you the things that I'm going to be decluttering out of my collection. I haven't done a declutter in quite some time. I have the box in front of me of all the products I'm going to declutter. I'm just going to pull them out, talk to you about why I'm decluttering them, and then we'll move on to the next one. The first thing is this Esmeralda 2 by Beauty Creations eyeshadow palette. I got this from my BoxyCharm. I tried it out. It's not all that great. The formula is not all that great, and I definitely have palettes I like better than this one, so I'm going to pass it on to someone else that might be able to use it. I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes in this because I do want to narrow down my eyeshadow palette collection into palettes that I just really love to use, that I'm excited to use, and that work every single time. So I am getting rid of a lot of eyeshadow palettes. I have two Morphe palettes I'm going to go ahead and get rid of. This is the 35M, and this is the old Jaclyn Hill, one of her very first palettes. It looks like that. I'm really over these ginormous palettes that have a multiple of the exact same color. This one is a really gorgeous one. It has tons of really cool colors. What I've found with the metallics is that there is so much fallout. I have so much glitter all over my face constantly, no matter what. Even if I use a glitter glue, I still have tons of glitter. They aren't all that great, and I would much rather have a smaller palette or one that just does not have multiples of the same color. One palette that makes me super sad to declutter. This is the Pirates of the Caribbean collaboration with Lorac. Pirates of the Caribbean is one of my absolute favorite videos, so when this came out, I was so excited to have it. Super lackluster. It's quite an old palette. The colors really never worked all that great for me. I try to use them all the time, and they just don't have great payoff. It was kind of a dud palette for me. I kept it for so long because of the Pirates of the Caribbean theme, because I do absolutely love those videos. But honestly, it's such a bulky palette. It's just pointless to keep. It's bulky. I don't like the formula. I don't like the eyeshadow palette, so I'm going to go ahead and just declutter this one. I'm also decluttering my Hello Charmers collaboration with BoxyCharm palette. It is a kind of cool palette. It has some really nice metallics, but the same with the glitters in the Morphe. It has tons of fallout, glitter all over my face. Not a huge fan, and it was a BoxyCharm exclusive, so no one else can get it, and it's honestly just not a really good palette. A few face palettes I'm going to declutter. I'm going to get rid of the BH Cosmetics Blushing in Bali. This is a blush and highlighter palette. It works really well. The formula is fantastic. The blushes are really nice, and the highlighters are really nice, but honestly I just don't need this. I have tons of blushes. I didn't like that I'm only really able to use one of the highlighters. I can't use these other two. This one is a little dark for my skin for the blush, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter this to someone who will actually use it. Another thing I got from my BoxyCharm I'm going to declutter. This is the Iconic London. This is a Blaze Chaser face palette. This palette is just not good. It's not pigmented. It doesn't blend very well. It looks really heavy and powdery on the face. I was not a fan of this palette, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter it. It's an expensive palette to have such a cruddy formula, but I'm just not a fan of this one. A few more eyeshadow palettes that I'm going to declutter. I'm going to get rid of the Hip Dot Zion palette. Beautiful colors, just not my color story, but wonderful formula. I really love the Hip Dot formula. I think it is gorgeous. There are a lot of dupe colors in this palette that are in the Jeffree Star Blood Sugar and the Bloodlust palette. That is why I'm going to declutter this one, because I do have those two palettes and I like that formula just a bit better. But Hip Dot has an incredible formula. I do have their blue palette. I can't remember what it's called, but I love that one a lot because I do like blues more. So I'm going to declutter it just because it's not my favorite color story, and I do have dupes for most of the colors. But Hip Dot does have a really great formula. I'm going to get rid of the Ace Beauty Scarlet Dusk. It's kind of the same color story. Pinks, oranges, mauves. Not really my favorite. And then I didn't think the formula was all that great. Not a huge fan of Ace Beauty's metallics. They are very dry and very thick. They kind of flake off my eyes, and I'm just not a fan, so I'm going to declutter this one. I'm also going to declutter the Ace Beauty Vintage Dawn. It is the same formula. This, I definitely love the color story a lot more. The blues, the greens, I really like this, but also I just don't like the formula. It doesn't work for me, so I'm going to declutter this to someone that can use it. I'm also going to declutter the Violet Voss Essentials palette. This is a really nice palette. It does have really good just everyday wearable colors. I don't need these. I have tons of other palettes that I use more regular. I counted how many palettes I'm keeping in my collection. I have 50. I have 50 eyeshadow palettes. I am getting rid of probably 15 palettes, so I don't need this one. I have tons of other ones. And another palette I'm going to declutter is the Anastasia Subculture palette. This color story just is gorgeous. This is probably one of the first palettes to come on the market with a unique color story. Everything before this I felt was like neutrals and very bland color stories, and then Anastasia came out with this one and really hit the market hard with this. It was gorgeous. People wanted it. I loved it. They're really splashy. They don't blend well. The colors are really cool. Revolution has a dupe for this palette. I love that palette 10,000 times more. It works so much better, so I am using that one. I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. So a couple highlighters I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to get rid of the Too Faced Sugar Peach Wet and Dry palette. This is a kind of a highlighter blush topper type palette. I really do like it. It is a really good formula if used wet. When used dry, it's very heavy, looks very flaky on the skin, but when used wet, it looks gorgeous, super shiny and metallic. I just don't need this. I have other blush toppers and highlighters that I much prefer, so I'm going to go ahead and pass this on to someone who might enjoy it more than I did. I'm also going to get rid of this Yate London. This is the Confetti highlighter. This is a really pretty highlighter, very dark, and honestly even during the summer when I have a tan, it just is not the greatest formula. It's a little dry on my skin. It doesn't blend in well. It definitely looks like a stripe of highlighter, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter this. I am also going to get rid of this Bare Minerals bronzer. This I faux tan. I really don't like this formula. It is super sheer. I have to build it up like crazy, and even after a tons of built up, there's not a lot of pigment, not a lot of payoff. This might be good for someone who has a really bad habit of going very heavy-handed. So much on your skin, you really can see it on your cheeks. It looks quite heavy, but doesn't give you tons of payoff. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. Foundation I'm going to declutter. This is the Ciate London Extraordinary Foundation. I have this in 104 Linen. I did not like this on my skin. It did not look good. It looked very heavy, very cakey, especially around my nose. It might be because I have dry skin, so maybe if you have oily skin, this might work better for you. It was a really full coverage foundation. It did have a really pretty glow to it, but it just looked very heavy. Every time I would put this on, even when I would put the smallest amount, it just did not look good on my skin. I'm also going to get rid of my Tarte. This is the Rainforest of the Sea Volume 3. I've never liked this palette. It is a very bland palette in my personal opinion. I did keep this for a really long time just because it is a peacock design on the front. I love peacocks. I was using this in my background, but I think I'm going to declutter. I have a friend who actually might enjoy this. I'm going to get rid of my Sleek. This is the Solstice palette. This is a really nice palette. It was all the rage back in the day when I first started watching YouTube. Everyone really loved Sleek highlighting palette. But the problem with these colors is that they are so light that even at my palest, they just don't work for me. They always leave a really white cast on my cheekbones. They don't look great on my skin, and I have other highlighters I like better, so I'm going to pass this on. I am sadly going to get rid of this Peach and Lily. This is a soft, calm, hydrating gel cleanser. It broke me out. This is very jelly-like, but also didn't suds up very well. I really like a sudsy type cleanser. It makes me feel like my skin is cleaner. I didn't like the texture of this, and then it also did break me out. I used it for about a week and I started to see little spots. It was the only thing that I had added into my routine, so I am going to declutter it because it was breaking me out. This is like the second item I've got from Peach and Lily, and both have broken me out, so I'm probably going to steer away from this brand. This and Elemis, everything I've tried from these two brands have broken me out, and I do not have super sensitive skin. Normally I'm pretty alright. There's just a few products that do break me out, so I'll probably steer clear of these two brands. Also decluttering the $1 Billion Brow. This is the Brow Duo Pencil Highlighter and Concealer. It was a very heavy formula. It did not blend well. It left a lot of product in my brows, and anywhere I put this, it was just super heavy, and you could definitely see it, so I'm going to declutter that. I did not like that. I'm going to declutter the NYX. This is Slide On, Glide On, Stay On, and definitely a Turn On Waterproof Extreme Color Lip Liner in High Standards. It was a very orangey type nude. I'm not a huge fan of orange nude, so I'm going to declutter that one. I'm going to go ahead and declutter this NYX Sweet Cheeks Glow Blush in Fig. I did not like the color. It didn't work very well for me. It's a very dark purple, almost brown type color. It doesn't work for me. It might work for someone with darker complexion, but it definitely did not work, and I didn't like the formula very much. It was very glowy, but also kind of glittery, so I wasn't a fan of this one. I'm also going to declutter the e.l.f. X Nabella Noir highlighter. This is just too dark for my skin. I should have figured that. It's quite golden, so I'm going to declutter that. I also don't really use loose highlighters as often, so it's a full tub of a highlighter that's just too dark for me, so I'm going to declutter this. My sister might really enjoy it. it. That is all the products that I'm going to declutter. I know it's quite a lot, but I have not done this in quite some time, and I really want to start 2021 with a smaller collection of products that I absolutely love. I will definitely be doing another one of these. I'm going to be trying to really go through my collection and decide what to keep, what not to keep. I just want a collection that I'm going to be able to actually use up. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye guys.